The CLA may be your entry ticket into the Mercedes-Benz sedan lineup. However, it is the C-Class that truly introduces you to the finesse, the luxury that we associate with a Mercedes-Benz. It is no surprise then that the C-Class model line has been a highly successful one. That S-Class inspired form has certainly worked in its favor, and now it's been given a midlife makeover with, guess what? A lot more S-Class goodness. And majority of those goodies comes in the form of technology under the hood, namely the assistance systems. But before we get there, let us first take a look at what has changed on the outside, for it takes a keen eye to spot the changes. For starters, the Amg Diamond Grill is now available even on this bread and butter sedan, and that immediately lifts the premium feel of the C-Class. The headlights are new too. The headlamps on the updated C-Class that you will see with a more complex detailing are actually the lower spec LED setup, whereas this, the simpler design, is made up of the multi-beam LED setup which has 84 LEDs which can be individually turned on or off or rotated to brighten up various road elements without really dazzling the other road users. The multi-beam LED headlamps can see up to 650 meters in front, which is a big deal. At the back, the taillights have been given a slightly more angular design, and I believe that it looks a bit out of place on the otherwise curvaceous design of the car. The car that you see here is done up in a lovely shade of matte grey, and I really hope Mercedes-Benz brings it to India too. Step in and you will be welcomed by the flowing design of the C-Class, which looks so fresh and appealing even today. It is no surprise then that Mercedes-Benz haven't really played around too much with it, save for the new steering wheel design inspired by the S-Class and a larger 10.25-inch infotainment screen with a newer Command 5.5 operating system. The instrumentation is all digital too and 12.5 inches in size. If you're wondering why this car doesn't have the two seamless screens like the ones that you see in the S-Class, or why it doesn't have the MBUX touchscreen infotainment system that debuted with the A-Class, that's simply because the design and the architectural restrictions of the current generation C-Class. All of it will be available in the next generation of the C-Class. The real S-Class goodies come in the form of the radar guidance technologies like active steering assist, which comprises of the active lane change assist and the active emergency stop assist functions, which can help the car maintain its lane autonomously and can come to a complete halt all by itself if it detects an impending collision. There is also the new active Distronic radar-guided cruise control, which can alter the car's speed as per the behavior of the vehicles around it. I'd like to believe that some of these radar-guided technologies and assistance systems will also make their way into the Indian market with the updated C-Class. Mercedes-Benz India is already using them on the updated S-Class, and I don't think it would be a big effort for them to unlock it on the C-Class as well. Needless to say, it will also give them a clear distinction over their competition. The C-Class has completely revamped its engine lineup too. There are either all-new engines or updated versions of existing powertrains. The updated C-Class will be continued to be offered with 3 drivetrain options for the Indian market. There are 2 diesels and 1 petrol. The latter comes with a 1.5-litre engine. Now don't cringe at that displacement just yet, not till you've driven that car. It puts out about 184 PS of power and 280 Newton meters of torque, which is an output that's comparable to the outgoing C200 petrol. And then it also gets twin-scroll turbocharging to make sure that there is a decent amount of low-end torque for urban use. Like in the new S-Class sold in Europe, the C200's M264 turbocharged engine employs an integrated starter generator, or ISG, that uses a 48-volt electrical subsystem to recover or generate and store electrical energy, which is then used as torque fill whenever the engine needs a boost, like pulling overtakes or eliminating turbo lag. The technology is called EQ Boost in Mercedes-Benz speak. Mercedes-Benz is still undecided on whether this technology or this engine will make it to India, but if they do, they will replace the current C200 petrol. The range topper for the regular C-Class sedan is going to be the C300D. It replaces the C250 and it uses a new 1950cc or a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbo diesel engine. It belongs to the new OM654 family. So if all these numbers and jargon sounds familiar to you, It's essentially the same engine that powers the E-Class, the E-Class All-Terrain. In the C300D, it puts out about 245 PS of power, which is a big 40 PS jump over the C250. The torque still remains the same, 500 Newton meters, comes in at the same 1600 RPM. So driving in the city is not a problem at all. Driving in the highway is not a problem at all either. In fact, from the word go, it feels a lot more eager, a lot sprightlier than the C250, which is a good thing. All the new engines come mated to the 9G-tronic 9-speed transmission, and in the 300D, it responds quickly to park throttle but takes a breather before dropping a gear when you step on the pedal. While hitting the twisties with this car in the mood for spirited driving, the paddle shifters are your best friends. The 300D variant that we sampled was spec'd with air suspension, which feels great on the European roads, but the setup is a bit too firm for our conditions. It may be offered on the India spec model as an optional extra, while the lower spec models will continue to ride on the relatively more reliable coil spring setup. Our test car had the 4MATIC all-wheel drive too, which imparted a numb feel to the steering as compared to the two-wheel driven variants that will come to India. Speaking of which, the updated C-Class is headed to India by October 2018. While we expect the prices of the entry-spec C200 to remain in the same ballpark as the outgoing car, the higher spec variants are expected to get a tad bit pricier, which is justified considering all the changes and additional equipment that it will come with.